Hi all, welcome to Graphics Desk.
Let's begin. Now in this video today, we'll talk about how to draw an isometric view of the given geometry, a given right hand side view and front view. Now the origin that is given to us is here on the left hand side of RHSV, and here it is located on the front view. So we'll see how to draw this. So first of all, we have to draw a horizontal line, and we'll construct XYZ planes at 30 degree and 90 degree to this line. So let me look at that. This is point O. So this is our origin O, this is X, Y and Z in this direction. So let me mark those. So this is X, this is Y and this is Z. Now first of all, we will get whatever visible faces on the right hand side view will come into this plane, and whatever visible part of the diagram in front view will appear on this plane. So first of all, we'll draw this rectangular side of the object, which is 30 mm in height and 80 mm in length. So this is that side we're talking about. Now in isometric view, what is the most important thing is that your dimensions would be same as long as they are parallel to either of X or Y or Z axis. And we will have to see how, now this will make things a little tricky, but for us when we draw a slant line, or for us when we locate this point, these things would need to be, we'll not be able to measure this in the diagram. We'll have to draw and locate those. Now there are two tricks that are involved in this, and I would say a common area of mistake that many people will commit, and do remember that we'll get to it as we draw, but this would be very interesting. So now let's draw this diagram which we have here. This will be on this plane with 15 mm, 40 mm and 15 mm at the base, 15 mm in the height, 30 mm at height of the side, and 35 is the height where this central portion would lie. So let me draw that. Okay, now let's measure where the center of this, okay, we have finished with the base part of it. I'm not yet finalizing it because I'm not using the dark lines here yet, because there are some construction that we have to do, but let's go to this part of the drawing where it is located at the center point and 18 mm width, and the center point is basically 20 plus 15, which means at the 35 mm from point O. So let's locate the center point here, and then we locate this face and this face. Now this face is 9 mm to right, and this face is 9 mm to left of the center point. So I'm measuring 35 mm here first, and then 9 mm on each side. Okay, so in the diagram now, this is the line of center. This is the rightmost side of the center portion, and this is the leftmost side. Now the lines that will be dark would be this one, this one, and this. Now you can see that this face is completed over here, and there would be a line which will pass through this point. So we'll draw that. Now this surface that you can see here is basically the surface which is represented by line in this view, or this line in the RHSV. So this is that face. Now this particular vertical face and this face, actually this one, the right hand side one, would start here, would be something of this shape, and the other one would be something of this shape. We'll draw that. Center point of this particular circle is located 45 mm above this surface, which means you'll have to measure 45 mm from this point, and a line parallel to it would locate its center. On this line, the center is located for this particular face. So let's locate the center first, which is R25. That means 25 mm from this point. This distance is 25. So we'll measure 25 from this point on this line. So this is the center point of the circle. Now, for us to draw the circle, there are multiple methods with which you can draw it, but I'll show you one in this, and in different videos we'll use different methods. So in this method, what we'll have to do is we'll have to draw all the three axes. That means line parallel to X, Y, and Z from this point, and then we have to locate the centers from which we'll have to draw an arc to form a circle. Now in isometric view, it will be different. It will not be a usual circle. So it will be made up of 4 different arcs to appear as a circle. So let me draw a line parallel to X and Y and Z through this. Now we have drawn the lines. We have to measure exact distance of radius of the circle, which is 25. So we have 25 measure, and we'll mark 6 different points on this 6 different lines, with this being the center. Okay, now if you see this diagram, the axis of this circle or this hole is in RHS view is represented as dot, because it is going in, and in the front view it is parallel to or exactly this line, which means this is the axis of the circle. Now what we'll have to do is we'll have to construct the lines such way that it would be an arrow on this axis. So I'll show you how. So you have to connect this point to this point to this point to this, and this point to this. Now if you see, this looks like an arrow in the direction of the axis of the circle, so as this one is. Now once we are done with this construct, we have to draw arc. Now remember, this is not a full circle, so we need this arc and this arc. So we need even half of the circle in this case. So let's draw this one and this one. I'll tell you how to. So this would be our center and this would be the center, and connecting these 2 points through an arc would be represented as the quarter of this side. Okay, so we have drawn this quarter of the circle over here. Now I'll draw this part of it, but I am not going to draw it completely because there is a tangent to it. So I'll draw a very faint diagram or a curve, and then later on, once we find where the tangent is, we'll darken the rest of the portion. Now for us to do that, we have to have this as center, and this much as radius from this point to this point would be the arc, representing other half of the circle. So this is the arc representing other half of the circle, but I'm not making it dark because we have to look at the tangent. So now we found the circle on this face. Now on this face it is 80 mm in the direction of axis Y. So we'll locate the center along the axis and we'll draw this particular arc. Okay, so this point is 18 mm from this point is 18 mm from this, which is the center that we wanted. Now I've intentionally marked these as faint and not darken it because we have to locate the tangent between these two circles, and anything beyond that tangent would not be visible to the user. That means this is the tangent. Now the further part, it would be dark. Okay, so this is how the face would look like as representing this one here. Now for us to draw the slant surface, we already have this point which is representing here, this one, and we have to draw a tangent to this circle. So let's draw that from this point to tangent, which means from this point we have to draw a tangent to this circle. Now we got these two lines which are represented here by these lines on the slant surface. We'll darken the rest of the portion. Now this is how that face would look like, but if you see it, there is a hole in between with phi 30, that means diameter 30. So we'll draw that. The center point for it is again the same. So we'll use the same construction of drawing a circle, and we'll draw a circle through it. I'm measuring 50 mm as it is the radius of the circle. Okay, now this being the center, this will be the arc. This being the center, this will be the arc. Now we are talking about a full circle here. This is the center, this arc, and this as center, I have to draw this arc. Okay, now this is the hole on this face. Now, coming to the point that I've mentioned that there are a few things that you'll have to take care of. Now there are three basic possible mistakes out of these things. Now, as this is a hole, the other side, that means the side of the hole represented as line in this face, could possibly be visible through in the isometric view, because through the hole. So what we'll have to do is, we'll have to draw this circle, and not full, but anything which is inside the circle here. So inside this circle, we have to draw the circle which will be on this face. So let's draw that. Now the only possible arc that could be visible would be equivalent to this one, which means we'll locate this point. This is the center for this arc. We'll locate this 18 mm in this direction, and we'll see if there is an arc which is visible through this circle. So let's do that. Now this is part of the circle which is on this surface but visible through the hole, and that's how we'll have to draw it. This is the first mistake that most of the people will make. The other thing is, we have to see where the farthest corner on this point is meeting, which would be somewhere here. So we have to draw a line parallel to this, which will have a width of 15 plus 15 plus 15, and then it will meet over here. So we'll see where is the maximum point, or where the point which is associated to this point would lie. So let's see where it is. And if it is in the visible range, we'll have to locate that, or the lines associated to it. So this line, if you continue, it looks like this. And this face would be like this. This would be the visible part of the diagram, but anything which would go beyond this point would not be visible. And as you know, in isometric, we don't have to draw the dotted lines, which means we have to draw the line parallel to X from this point up until this ridge. And the other thing is, this was the second one, and the third is, this point is basically an edge going into the diagram in front view. So this will be visible, which will be parallel to X axis. Now, as this is a slot, or I would say a gap in the object, this part will come visible like this. So we'll draw that, which means we'll have to draw a line parallel to X from this point until this, wherever it meets to this line. And beyond that, we don't have to draw it, because it will not be visible. So let's draw from X point, the line parallel to X from this point as a visible line up until this point. Now, this is where you're likely to make a mistake. I'm not saying everyone will make it, but you're likely to make a mistake that you might miss this line, you might miss this line, and you might miss the inner arc of the circle if you don't pay much attention to it. Now, this is how our final diagram would look like. Thank you for watching this video. We at Graphics Desk committed to spread the knowledge. Be a part of this journey, share this video and spread the knowledge. Until next time, bye.